Now, people are always saying to me, Alabama liberal, you're such a normal, friendly, everyday guy that's totally open and not weird at all. You're almost boring. So, what are some of your out there crazy opinions that you'd only share after a couple of glasses of Chardonnay on a long day? In which case, I would say, thank you for asking, sheeple. But I don't believe that a bomb was planted in the World Trade Center. I don't believe that. But I don't think Bush did everything he could to find bin Laden before the attacks and after the attacks. He said on record it wasn't a big priority for him. And we can argue about that in the comment section if anybody wants to. I don't believe that JFK was assassinated single-handedly by Lee Harvey Oswald. I'm not saying it was the CIA or the deep state or the Russians or the mafia. It could have been one of those, but I don't know. We may never know, but I don't think Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. I don't believe Trump won the Electoral College anymore. I don't think Nate Silver says that there's a 100% shot Hillary's going to win, and then suddenly she loses 3 states by razor-thin margins that she was supposed to win a week before that. I think the meddling that Russia's done in those elections, there's just too much evidence that they did something. So I think, but by far my most out there opinion is that Andrew Breitbart was killed by Russia to allow Steve Bannon to take over Breitbart News and make it what it is today. Now, I'm going to take off my joke tinfoil hat, which I really shouldn't do because that took forever to make. I got a liberal arts degree. I'm not good at arts and crafts projects like that. But anyway, with Andrew Breitbart was Jewish. And he was not necessarily part of the alt-right. He didn't necessarily share the view that Russia was our friend and that radical right-wing racism should be the future of the conservative party. And he was a conservative Republican, but he wasn't necessarily on board with the alt-right. Okay, he died of a heart attack at 43 while jogging. Now, that's not common, obviously, or whatever. But what's even scarier than that was, to me, it just seems suspicious that he would have died. Now, I know you're thinking you're living in James Bond territory or Tom Clancy territory. He's out jogging, and a Russian agent comes by and sticks him with a needle, and then a minute later, he's dead on the side of the street. Now, come on, what world is that? But we know that they've done this. We know that they can do this, and we know that Putin's not above doing that. We know this for a fact. It's just a fact that he's done this before. So why would they want to kill Andrew Breitbart and let Steve Bannon take over Breitbart News? Why would they want to do that? Well, I think it's to promote kind of the hijacking of the Republican Party for, the Republican Party used to be Reagan. It used to be people that thought Russia was the devil. It still is in the case of John McCain and some of the senators and congresspeople, but they want to split that in half with a new wave of Republicans that don't think Russia's necessarily the bad guys. Roy Moore has given speeches saying, well, maybe Vladimir Putin's right about whatever, like gay marriage or Christians being under attack or whatever it is, but just a Republican candidate being able to say, maybe Vladimir Putin's right about something. Maybe Russia's not that bad. They had an interview with The Guardian where they asked him, they said, well, Russia's the primary exporter of evils, so said Reagan in the 1983 speech. And Roy Moore said, well, you could say that about America, couldn't you? We export gay marriage. This is Mao crazy shit. Nobody, 20, 30 years ago would have ever said, well, we're as bad as Russia is, maybe even worse. And the fact that the Republican Party now feels that they're in a place to do that, and then Steve Bannon, I don't think he's necessarily that loyal to Trump himself. I think it's this idea of Putin's our ally in this war on Islam and this war on heterosexual marriage and gender norms and Christianity's under attack and all these things. And I think there's a contingent of the Republican Party that sees Putin as a stable force for basically Christian supremacy, white supremacy, xenophobia, nationalism, and I think that Steve Bannon kind of promotes those ideas on Putin's behalf, perhaps, and that's why he took over Breitbart to kind of promote those ideas. I can't prove it, and there's no evidence, and maybe it is crazy, but if we don't have at least one or two out there ideas, we're not really living, right?